Mr. Transformers 96 here with another video review. This time I'm going to be just kind of talking about the newly shown Hot Toys figures. So Hot Toy just showed 4 new figures today for their San Diego Comic-Con exclusives. Now obviously with San Diego Comic-Con kind of not, going forth in person, still, a lot of agencies and a lot of people who are participating in Comic-Con are still releasing figures. They're still kind of doing an online event, and Hot Toys is no different. They're still releasing an assortment of exclusives that will be available on Sideshow's website. So it's nice to see that even though the physical event's canceled, a lot of companies are still continuing to do figures and make it still a special time. So let's talk about these new figures. One thing that's very interesting about all 4 of them is that Hot Toys has gone completely Marvel this year. All 4 releases are Marvel, although they're all kind of from different stuff for the most part. We've got some kind of concept stuff, we have games and movies. So let's talk about them one by one here. We'll switch over to the first one, which is the Iron Man 2 Mark IV hologram armor. So this is basically just your standard Mark IV Iron Man, standard plastic figure, not die-cast for obvious reasons, that's translucent, so it kind of is supposed to look a little bit more holographic. In concept, like on paper, sounds like a kind of neat design. In person, I'm not a big fan of it. I think the holographic look makes it look toyish. This doesn't quite look like it's Hot Toys quality, It kind of has a action feature concept type thing from a cheap figure, to be honest. I don't think that it actually looks that great. Because even in this perfect lighting with these cool kind of like techie backgrounds, it doesn't look all that good. So on the shelf, I can't imagine this thing's going to look that good, to be honest. This is just me personally, though. I'm not a big fan well, I kind of like concept stuff, but when it comes to just concept stuff that's, just a paint-related concept or the kind of translucent feature here, I don't find it super special, to be honest. The only portion of the figure that I think the translucent pieces actually look neat on is the face mask, because you can kind of see like some of the inner workings of the face, and because it's more yellowish, I think that the translucent works a bit better than the red. So it has an interesting look, but again, I'm not a big fan of this overall design. I don't think it looks great. He comes with one of the new style, kind of bases, and with just very minimal accessories for an Iron Man figure. To be honest, it's just a really... It's like they're really getting to the bottom of the barrel here on stuff they can do with already existing molds for Iron Man. This one doesn't look great in my opinion. I'm not a big fan of it. Next up, we have Whiplash from Iron Man 2, basically just a reissue, which is really disappointing. I am all for them taking figures that they've already, or taking characters that they've already made figures for and updating them, even if they don't completely redo them, at least updating portions that need to be updated and making them better and also more readily available for people who missed out the first time. But this is not that. This is just simply taking the figure that was released quite a while ago and just re-releasing it. I don't see anything new here. Reading the description for it, the only thing that they stated that was new is that it'll have a newly painted face sculpt. The sculpt itself is exactly the same, but it'll have a slightly different, paint design. Overall, everything else looks exactly the same. Nothing new here. And the one thing that really is disappointing is that one piece of him that desperately needs an update are the pants. The pants are brown, of course, while in the film that they're orange. Now, I believe that the reason that Hot Toys originally released a figure with brown pants was because of a licensing issue with that Raceway having, I guess, some sort of claim on those orange pants. So without paying them, I guess they couldn't actually make the orange pants for some reason. Without any logos or without any like really defining features to the pants, I'm surprised that they couldn't just do them orange. I don't see quite how their copyright could extend to this far, considering that they're unrecognizable since they're like burnt off. But nonetheless, that was one thing that could have been really updated and would have been a really welcome update. Unfortunately, though, they clearly did not get the license again because they still didn't want brown. So it's just I just don't know why they're doing this one. You know, it's just kind of like it's almost like they just went on eBay, looked up like old Hot Toys figures that are, you know, have gone up in price a bit, and they're like, okay, we can make an extra buck. There's people still after this one. So it's disappointing. A new head sculpt or some new accessories, proper color pants, you know, something could have been really cool that could have been added to make this figure a little bit more necessary. Personally, I have the Whiplash figure. I think it's a really good figure. But had they updated it to a decent extent, I would have been all for getting another version. Just because I like the look of the figure or character, and I think that the figure represents it quite well. So as you can see, accessory-wise, he comes with exactly the same accessories. The only difference is that instead of the standard base at the time, which is just one of the small oval bases, you kind of have a little bit better base now, which is just square, and it has kind of the print on top of it to look like the street. Again, had they done a new face sculpt with you know, more interesting expression, a kind of environment bigger base, maybe even a couple of accessories like his bird or the drone helmet, you know, something just to give him a little extra flair here. This could have been a really cool, you know, kind of update on an old figure. Unfortunately, though, it is basically just a reissue. Next up, we have SpiderMan 2099. Figures, as far as all the figures on this list, I think that this one looks really tremendous. It looks like an awesome sculpt. It's also, you know, a very popular version of Spider-Man. The 2099 suit is one of, you know, the fan favorites. I think that it looks really cool. This is based on the Gameverse type of look from him in the new Spider-Man game, and the suit itself looks really nice. It looks really sleek. I love the style of the symbol on the chest. I think that looks awesome. It really pops out. The spikes on the arms look really good too. The suit itself has it's an interesting color. I like it. It's kind of like a metallic, really dark blue, but it's cool. It looks awesome, and I think that it helps the metallic red just really pop off of him. He's got the sharp claws there. He looks like an aggressive suit, which I think is really cool. Awesome looking figure in my opinion. I personally don't collect the Gameverse figures. You know, I'm not. It's just a line that I have no interest in. But if I was interested in it, this would probably be the one that I'd want the most, to be honest. So I can definitely see that this figure could make some people happy. Overall, looks cool. Accessory-wise, it's a bit light. You know, you get a decent amount of hands. I think the hands you get are pretty nice. You get some standard web kind of shooter designs, and then you get a standard base. Although I haven't played the game, I don't know if he takes the mask off while wearing the suit. A head sculpt would have been cool, but I'm not sure. The front of the figure looks awesome. This one shot here of the back looks super plain. It's hard to fault Hot Toys, though, because, you know, it's just the style of the 2099 suit is that there's just kind of no design on the back. I will say that some of these seams look like really pronounced and a little annoying. Not quite sure if that's actually accurate, if in the game when he turns around he's got seams like that. I doubt it. I almost feel like it's how the figure is pieced together. So from the front, this figure looks awesome. From the back, not too much, but that's not really too much of a problem, to be honest. And then, in my opinion, the most interesting, at least, of the figures that they showed was from Thor Ragnarok, and it's Stan Lee in his cameo from that movie as the person who cuts Thor's hair in the films. Neat, you know, I think that it's cool. They've done other Stan Lee cameo figures, and I think that if you have the others and you get this one, it's just going to look great. Just having like a collection of just Stan Lee cameos would be awesome, to be honest. On its own, though, I don't think it's super special. I mean, it's neat, but I don't think that it's really needed. I think that if you kind of just want a Stan Lee for your collection, the Stan Lee that they released of just himself is perfect for that. But if you want a whole collection of cameo ones, then it would be really cool to have this one in there. The suit itself, the costume, is really quite basic. There's not a whole lot going on, just really standard boots, standard pants. He's got kind of like a little kind of tunic piece on top of just normal kind of long-sleeved shirt, and then the armor around it with almost, it looks like the back of a seat. It looks like even when he's standing, he's sitting, because it looks like there's a back of a seat behind him. He's got some kind of funky, futuristic galactic glasses there, and then he's got his robotic arm with a small piece, and then when he like presses the button, you got all these razors and all this crazy stuff. So yeah, overall, I think that this is a really neat figure. It's not one that's super needed, to be honest. And again, I would only think that people... Oh, wait, does he? He does. Does he actually come with this hair? I was going to mention that he should come with the hair. Let me look at the picture of all of his accessories. Because that would just be like... He does. Okay, I do like that he comes with the strand of hair. I was actually going to mention that. So that is cool that he comes with that. Again, though, I would only recommend this for people who are collecting the Stan Lee cameo figures. If you haven't had any of the previous ones and you don't plan to get them, I don't think that this would be a great one to get, because it's not one of Stan Lee's best looking cameos, in my opinion. It's a memorable one, but it's certainly, he doesn't look like amazing. Like, I wouldn't consider this as just a standalone piece, but as a part of a set with the cameos, it would be awesome, I definitely would say. So currently, none of these are on pre-order quite yet. They'll probably be going on pre-order somewhat soon. And personally, for myself, I don't plan to get any of them. The Hologram Mark IV, I don't like that figure at all. The Stan Lee cameo, although it's really cool, I don't really collect the Stan Lee cameo figures. Spider-Man 2099, again, I think it's a cool figure. I'm just not collecting the game universe for Spider-Man figures. And then Whiplash character-wise is the one that I would get if it was a serious update. If they did like things to actually update the figure, I would be seriously interested in it. But as it stands now, being exactly the same as the original, which I already have, it's an easy pass for me. So there you go. That's my thoughts on these new kind of San Diego Comic-Con exclusives from Hot Toys. I think it's overall a bit of a disappointing assortment. I think that really all the figures, for the most part, are for very select audiences. The 2099 is the only one that I can see is like a really big hit. But yeah, overall, I think that it's a bit weak, to be honest. I think that they've kind of wasted their time with some of the character selections here, especially the ones on the edges. But overall, interesting figures. It's an interesting assortment of them, at least. So let me know what you guys think of these new Comic-Con exclusive Hot Toys figures, and thanks so much for watching.